and we got married May the 1st. Now, and I didn't know how old he actually was until we went to get the license and found out he was 30. It was going to be 30 in June. Well, it was already too late then. You know what I mean? Age didn't make any difference now at all. So it's just that it seemed like the way he and I were, we just knew what each other was thinking a lot of times now. And we had to make ourselves go to bed at nighttime. We never got through talking to each other. Even though I'm a talker too. We never got through talking, and if we disagreed on something, we talked it out. Now, because on a lot of things he didn't agree on the things that the Catholic Church does now. And I'll just give you an example. We went to see the priest about getting married. I wanted to be married at this one church because that's where we had buried my mother and my father and stepmother through the church there. And I wanted the priest from that church to marry me, to marry us. And he says, no, you live in this district for this other Catholic church. You have to be married in their district. No. So I said, well, okay, Father. I said, I'll be back. I'll go get me a room in this district. Because we had always gone to that one church, you know. And so anyway, he says, oh, no, you can't do that. I said, I can't go get a room in a rooming house or something in this district so I can be married in this church now. And he says, I said, you watch me now. And then, I guess I argued with people in those days. And then the other thing we got to, now, if it's not going to embarrass you, on how many children we wanted to have. They wanted, Lee says to the priest, he says, you mean even though her health is bad, you keep from having children? You know what I mean. You shouldn't have children if the wife's health is bad or something. And so, because I guess back in those days, the Catholic Church didn't believe in condoms, you know. So, anyway, they were kind of, in a way, arguing back and forth about this. And I said, look, Lee, I said, it's between you and I and God on how many children we have. Right in front of the priest now. And we was talking some more, and he says, you better leave your marriage license here with me. I don't want you running off and getting married somewhere else. Now. What's the matter, Troy?
That's funny.
No. And he ended up marrying us. His name was Father Roberto. And he ended up marrying us.
Was he Spanish?
Huh?
Was he Spanish?
No.
No. Okay.
No. It was just like... And we didn't have any money to get married on either. When we went and bought the rings, I said, well, I had bought something at that jewelry store at that time. And so I kind of had an account there. And so anyway, we put... my wedding ring cost only $11, gold wedding ring back in those days.
Wow.
Now, and then we got his, and then I ended up paying for the license. I had the $2, and see, he was living way out there in Channel View or so, as they called it. Now, and I was in the east side of town, and he says, I don't think I can get in tomorrow night or something. He was hitchhiking in now, and I said, well, if you can get in, come on in and we'll have supper together, because I was in this boarding house, but we had to eat out, you know. Upstairs was nothing but girls up there in this boarding house, and the guy and the wife that owned the house, he had a gym down there, and he had people working out down there, and then they had the upstairs rented to just nothing but girls now. So anyway, I says, well, come on in, and I've got enough money till payday for us to eat on now, because he wasn't getting paid. These guys weren't getting any money. They were barely giving them enough, and it wasn't enough to really live on now. And besides, when he got his money, he sent it to his mother now, to show you that he was taking care of her. You know what I mean? That showed me he was serious about taking care of his mother now, because some guys aren't or anything. You know, they don't care how their family gets along now. And everything about him now, and all through life on these other submarines, I never knew he was coming home for supper when he come home, because he'd bring one of the guys home with him. He'd have all the guys under him, you know, the sailors now, and he was the chief on the engine department. Never knew who he was going to bring home at all now. And when we were Kittery Maid, and it was almost time for Susan to be born, that Christmas before, no, it was New Year's before, because she was born on March the 20th. New Year's, the guys on the sub that didn't have any place to go, some of their families stayed back home in another state where their wives were, you know what I mean, because we were only going to be up there a certain length of time before they got the sub ready to go, you know, out in the ocean. So anyway, it was New Year's, and we had this, one guy was from Greece, the country of Greece, and then we had this black guy there. And so anyway, I got everything ready. I got the potatoes ready to be baked and all, and they were going to have ribeye steak and all. And I told Lee, I said, I'm going to go lay down for a little while. Let me know when the guys come, and I'll get up and you know, fix the meal. I had everything ready for it, excuse me. So anyway, finally I woke up, and I got up and I went in the living room. They were watching the football game on TV, because we had TVs back that was in 53, 52. TV had just come out, and we had a big square one like that. And so I got up and I went in there and I was sitting there in the living room. There was about 6 of the guys off the sub there. And so this black guy was named Fred, and his wife was pregnant too. And his little boy was born the day before Susan, on the 19th of March. Now, and then Susan would come on the 20th, see. So anyway, I hadn't noticed Fred had gone into the kitchen or so. So he comes back in and he says, Laura, how do you want your steak now? And I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, I got your lunch ready. All I need to do is, how do you like your steak? I said, what, Fred? He says, yeah, I'm fixing your lunch for you. This is the way those guys were with me now. And you know what I mean? And they really looked up to Lee on asking him questions and everything. And we always had whoever didn't have a place to go on a holiday, we had them. Now, no matter where we were. Now, so anyway, Fred stayed with us for quite a long time now. And whenever, in 1959, Lee was in the hospital before we wanted to come home here and get out of the Navy. We were out in Hawaii, and we were in officers' quarters, and so Fred called up, and his wife was really something. She had Monday, like, she would wash clothes. Tuesday she ironed them. Wednesday she cleaned out the refrigerator. She was like that, and her house was spick and span, and mine was always a mess with 3 kids. Now, anyway, we got along just wonderful. So anyway, Fred calls and he says, Laura, could we come over now? Because he was still just a sailor on the submarine, see. And he says, could we come over and